go over some logistical information and brief introductions. During today's presentation, all phone lines are going to be muted with the exception of the speakers. However, questions can be posted at any time through the Q&A feature of the webinar. At the conclusion of the webinar, we'll review questions and answer as many possible within our time allotted. The session will also be recorded and posted to the website along with the materials that we're discussing. Because that process can sometimes take a little time and there are deadlines associated with this initiative, we've attached the presentation along with the attestation we'll be discussing later to the meeting notice for your information. In terms of introductions, there are many OPWD representatives on the call today. However, we briefly wanted to introduce the speakers and representatives that will be answering questions from OPWD's Division of Fiscal Policy and Management and the Division of Service Access, Program Implementation, and Stakeholder Support. So from the Division of Fiscal Policy and Management, you have me, Christine Carey, Associate Commissioner, Kevin Valentius, our Deputy Commissioner, Craig Rogers, Director of Budget Services, and Kyle Sapkowitz, Assistant Director of Budget Services. With us today, we also have Division of Service Access, Program Implementation, and Stakeholder Support, Anne-Marie Peterson, Associate Commissioner, Aviva Kindo, Deputy Commissioner, Delia Tucker, Statewide Operations Director for the Regional Office, and Alexis Harrington, Associate Commissioner. Next slide, please. So we wanted to thank you for joining us today to talk about a funding opportunity as part of our closeout of the 24-25 fiscal year. OPWD is happy to announce that we are again able to offer a one-time transition payment for individuals from qualified settings. In this session, we will discuss who is eligible for the community transition payment, what the payment is, and what criteria a provider must meet to earn and retain their transition payment. Next slide, please. The first thing we're going to discuss today is who is eligible for the one-time transition payment. The first category of people are individuals aging out of residential schools. This is going to include individuals who have completed or will complete by August 2025 their educational program from an approved residential school and are unmatched from previous LOIs or CRO referrals. The second group of individuals is people who are ready from discharge from an intensive treatment facility, ITO, and are on the CRO list unmatched with a provider. The third group of individuals is those who are ready from discharge from a hospital on the CRO and are also unmatched with a provider. And then the final category, which has not been included in the previous two initiatives, is Willowbrook class members who have been discharged to a skilled nursing facility and have indicated a desire to return to the community. Next slide, please. To avoid any confusion regarding the eligible populations, we've created the following chart that will identify who's been included in each of the initiatives, the 22-23, the 23-24, and this year's 24-25. There have been changes year over year depending on the time we have for the initiative and the information available to OPWD. There isn't much to discuss here. It's more of a reference point for people to go back to. But the final column on the right is the eligible populations for this year's initiative. Next slide. The next topic we want to discuss is what a provider needs to know before applying for a one-time transition payment. First, you're not restricted from applying for the funding if you were unable to place someone you planned for in the 22-23 and or the 23-24 initiative. However, you will not be able to receive duplicate funding for the same person or opportunity you planned for in a previous initiative. For example, if Provider A planned for James Smith in the 23-24 initiative but was unsuccessful and James is still unmatched, Provider A cannot receive funding for them again. A provider can apply for funding for up to 10 individuals. This is to limit the burden of any single provider and is consistent with data from the past two initiatives. And finally, awards for the 24-25 initiative will be offset by any outstanding recoupments from the previous initiative. So if you were awarded funding for 10 individuals but were unable to meet the requirements in the last initiative, your award would be reduced by that amount. And just as a side note, any other outstanding recoupments from the previous initiatives will be collected outside this process. That includes recoupments that are owed for providers not participating in the 24-25 initiative and those who owe more than the award for 24-25 if they apply. Next The next several slides are going to identify the payment amounts for each eligible population type. For individuals who have completed or will complete by August 2025, the educational program from a residential school, a one-time payment of $100,000 will be issued. Placement must occur for these individuals by October 31st, 2025. Next slide, please. A one-time payment of $200,000 will be paid for individuals ready for discharge from an ITO, individuals have been in a hospital since 12/31/24, deemed ready for discharge and are on the CRO, and placement for these individuals must occur by 7/31/25. Next slide, please. And the final group, a one-time payment of $200,000 will be made to providers who can support a Willowbrook class member ready for discharge from a skilled nursing facility and have a desire to return to the community. Placement into the vacancy for these individuals must occur by 7/31/25. Next slide, please. We've just talked about how much the transitional payments are for each category, but now we want to take some time to identify what these payments represent. The transition payments are a flat, consistent amount that is not related to the Medicaid rate that the provider receives. The payments are not adjusted based on where the individual lives, therefore it's the same for both upstate and downstate providers. And it's one-time in nature and is intended to be used to stabilize individuals in their initial year in the community setting. And finally, these payments give OPWD the opportunity to pilot future value-based payment concepts. Next slide. Now we're going to focus on, in the next couple slides, what is required to receive and maintain the one-time transitional payment. Residential providers must use an existing backfill opportunity or vacancy to support an unmatched individual from one of the eligible populations. And this is the most important information on this slide. So it has to be for a vacancy and the individual has to be unmatched. Additional information on this slide is just a reminder that the placement dates are 10/31/25 for graduates and postgraduates, and then 7/31/25 for people from the ITO hospital or the Willowbrook class members from a SNF. Next slide, please. Additionally, in order to receive and maintain the one-time payment, providers must commit to serving the person for at least 1 year from the date of admission, use the payment to support the transition. Examples of such costs could be short-term clinical expertise, purchasing technology aids, or training costs. And finally, be able to identify how the funds were spent. While there's not a formal reconciliation process, OPWD reserves the right to request information. As mentioned earlier, awards that are issued but don't meet the requirements will be recouped in the future. Next slide, please. In terms of payments, we also wanted to be clear what else providers would receive in addition to the one-time payment. For each individual, you will receive the appropriate Medicaid rate for the certified program in which the backfill vacancy is utilized, and where eligible, you may receive higher needs funding. Next slide. We've covered a lot of information on the eligibility and requirements, but now we wanted to shift focus to the logistical elements of this initiative in terms of timelines and documentation that will be required. As in the past, there's a short turnaround time for the attestation, but there's limited information that must be submitted through the application process in order to streamline our approach. The completed and signed attestation must be submitted to the designated OPWD mailbox no later than February 21st, 2025. The regional office staff will evaluate requests and determine awards by March 7th, with an anticipated announcement date on March 10th. And transitional payments for the awards for the providers will then be issued through SFS in mid to end March. The attestation is intended to confirm that the provider understands that these are one-time funds and will manage service provision accordingly. Next slide, please. The attestation, which was attached to the meeting notice, summarizes the information that was presented to you throughout this session and requires each applicant to identify the number of people they are applying to serve in each setting, up to 10 total, identify the number of vacancies in their certified residential footprint, which will then be verified by the regional office, signature by both the CEO and the board of directors, and then submission electronically as a PDF to the local assistance mailbox that's identified in this presentation. As a reminder, the attestation is due no later than February 21st, 2025. I'm going to turn it over to Anne Marie to talk about the review process and the award hierarchy.
Thanks, Christine. Good afternoon, everybody. So the regional field office will be reviewing, for those that submit the attestation, several areas to determine awards. We will be evaluating for the provider submissions that the agency is in good programmatic and fiscal good standing, as evidenced by a review of the submitted CFRs. So all CFRs need to have been submitted to be a provider that's eligible for the award. Additionally, the provider cannot be on early alert. With the attestation, the signed attestation, the provider is indicating that they're going to adhere to the rules and requirements that Christine identified throughout this presentation, and an understanding that any awards that they previously received but did not meet the obligation of those awards in the previous 2 transition stipends, that this award will be offset by those amounts. And then additionally, within the attestation that was attached, the provider must indicate by the due date, which is February 21st, 2025. Within that attestation, they'll have identified both the number of people they intend to serve and by each category type. And for recollection, that is by individuals graduating in 2025 or previously that are not matched with a provider, individuals coming from ITOs in hospital settings that were ready for discharge as of December 31st, 2024, and class members in skilled nursing facilities interested in returning to OPWDD. So for each of those categories, the provider needs to identify their intended number of individuals to be served. Again, the up to 10 individuals. Next slide, please. In case we have responses and attestations beyond available funding for this community transition, we have a hierarchy in which we will be issuing awards. So first priority will go to providers who have participated in our first community transition incentive that happened in 2022 and 23, and those are for providers that participated and successfully placed and maintained all the individuals in which they received award. The second priority awards would go to providers that participated in last year's community transition incentive and successfully placed all the individuals funded in their award amount. The third priority awards would go to providers that participated in either of the 2 incentives and placed a portion of the individuals associated with the award amount for either incentives, and also had maintained the placement for a year of the initial award. The fourth priority awards would be for those that have not participated in any of these incentive programs to date, but have successfully placed individuals through past age-out LOIs. And lastly, if funds are still available, any provider who has not participated in any of these incentive programs or age-out LOIs, but are interested and have completed the attestation by the due date with the necessary information would be eligible for an award. And with that, Christine, I can turn it back to you.
Great, thank you, Anne-Marie. So based on the hierarchy and the review that the regional office does, the community transition award calculations will be calculated as following. We're going to take the number of people that are identified to be served up to 10 by the corresponding transition stipend, as we outlined earlier, $100,000 for age outs and then $200,000 for the other populations from an ITO, hospital, or the Willowbrook class members in the SNF. We'll add those categories together to achieve the maximum award amount, and then we'll subtract any recoupments from either the 22-23 age-out incentive award or the 2024-25 or 23-24 community transition incentive. And that will be the total award calculation for each provider. Next slide, please. So this concludes all the information on the initiative, but we want to take a few moments in the next few slides to highlight again the important dates and then summarize the initiative before we wrap up and take questions. So this chart is just a reference point for all the due dates. You know, obviously the provider webinar was today. As we've mentioned several times, the attestation is due on February 21st. The awards will be announced on March 10th, and they will be paid through SFS beginning in mid-March with a target completion date before the end of the fiscal year on 3/31. Next slide, please. One of the things that we wanted to do to avoid any confusion is to summarize and highlight some of the changes to this year's initiative from the past two. So this year, you know, we included the 2025 graduates who are currently unmatched with the provider. We did not do that in last year's initiative. In addition, we added the Willowbrook class members in a SNF who are ready for discharge. That wasn't done in either of the previous initiatives. For this initiative, you can apply to serve up to 10 individuals across all eligible populations, and we'll be offsetting the recoupments from the prior year initiatives for awards. We've also eliminated the need for the appendix to streamline the process, but we're requiring the number of vacancies and the number of individuals and providers committing to on the attestation. And finally, we extended the placement dates for each population by 1 month. Next slide, please. So next steps, we're going to post the attestations and the other related materials to the website for ease of access. Again, we can also send those out through the mailbox and attach them to the meeting notice in case they're not up on the website timely. And we'll also post the webinar recording to our website for reference. Next slide. And just a final reminder that the attestations and any inquiries should be submitted to the local assistance mailbox that's on the slide. Please use the reference Community 24-25 Community Transition so the team can make sure that they're answering those timely and getting you the information that you need. So that wraps up our information that we have for you today. We appreciate the time. We'll now move to the chat to answer any questions that you have for us.
I'm going to go on mute while we review the questions.
So we're monitoring the questions in the chat, so we'll probably go back and forth on mute as we review the questions. But there was a question in the chat about using the funds for capital projects, and the answer there is no. The funds cannot be used for any capital projects.
And the next question is, last year we also had to identify names of individuals we plan to serve. Is that a requirement this year? So not on the attestation, but Anne Marie.
Yeah, so names are not required on the attestation this year, but after awards are provided, the regional field office will be meeting with the awardees to review the eligible participants and for screenings and determination, and at that time they'll need to identify through the request to fill process who they're committing to in this initiative. We will be sharing the names, as of March 10th, as the awards are distributed.
So there's a question about whether or not an anticipated vacancy in the upcoming months can be submitted via the attestation process. And the answer to that is no. When you submit the attestation, you must have an active and viable vacancy. So we received a question about the eligible population group, and I just want to be clear that this is specific to the population groups identified on the slide deck. That includes people who have completed their educational programming in prior years and are not matched with a provider, those individuals who will complete their educational programming by August of 2025 and remain unmatched, in addition to those who are currently in an ITO and or hospital as of December 31st, 2024, who are unmatched with a provider, and the Willowbrook class who are currently in a skilled nursing facility and have expressed interest in returning to the community. This initiative is not available for anyone who is currently in a jail, prison, or forensic setting.
And for the ones completing their education, those are those individuals at a residential school, for clarity.
So there's a question, will unmatched LOI individuals from a 2024 project be eligible?
So for those that were in previous age-out LOIs that have not been matched, they would be considered graduates in a residential school awaiting an opportunity, and those graduates that remain at a residential school and are unmatched are eligible for this community transition. So the answer to that would be yes. So the community transition initiatives of the 100,000 and 200,000 identified amounts that are in this presentation are in fact a one-time payment to support individuals, eligible individuals' placements by the approved dates, which for those coming from ITOs and in hospitals and skilled nursing facilities, the due date for their placement is by July 31st of this year. And for those coming from residential schools, the due date for their placement is October 31st, 2025. And yes, it's only a one-time payment. Additionally, you would be eligible for your residential rate. And if that person qualified, you could apply for high needs funding and receive that as well.
I think we received a follow-up question to that, asking whether or not the higher needs funding was a one-time. So yes, so for those who qualify for higher needs funding based on the acuity, that would be a one-time payment based on the acuity level that an individual triggers.
So, so the question on the DDP-2, if we'll be reaching out to CCOs. So for those that have a CCO, they will have a DDP-2 completed. We will be reaching out to the CCOs. In fact, we met with them earlier today. For those that they represent, We've asked that they ensure that their residential referral packet on CRO is updated, which would include a DDP too. And for those that are in an ITO environment, the DDP2 falls to the residential provider to complete, and we will be working with them as well to make sure that their DDP2 is updated. The one-time transition initiative funds are not cost reconciled, but they are expected to be utilized to support the individual placement and to keep their placement maintained. So the funds are yours to determine on how best to utilize those funds to be, secure the placement and maintain their ability to remain in your residential program.
So we had a question that asked if it could be used for property or equipment damage. So while it can't be used for a capital project to expand, it could be used for, you know, property or equipment damage.
So we received a question about whether or not people in other regions of the state can be supported via the Community Transition Initiative.
And the answer is yes, you can make an offer to support anybody that is eligible for this, regardless of where they currently reside. Again, a person has the ability to accept a placement, and so in that person-centered vein, across regions, people can support individuals that are eligible in this initiative. And you can work collaboratively with the regional field office on those screening opportunities. We did have success with that in previous initiatives, and we will continue to work with you on that.
So we received a question about whether or not OPWDD is seeking commitments from the providers prior to a provider determining whether or not they can support an individual or a group of individuals safely. So what we're asking the providers to do, if you're interested in supporting any of the folks within the population group, is to first identify that you have vacant backfill opportunities available at the time in which you are completing the attestation, and to also identify the number of individuals, up to 10, across the population groups that we discussed, and that would be submitted to the local assistance mailbox by the deadline, which is February 21st, 2025. After we receive those attestations and awards are issued, the regional field offices would then be working directly with those providers to identify and screen the individuals across the population groups that the provider has identified.
It's important to note that these individuals are probably not unfamiliar to you, as these individuals are currently on our Certified Residential Opportunities list and are currently designated emergency need by their criteria. So they are available to you and should be familiar. Well, what we're asking our residential providers to do, which is very similar to what they have done in previous years, is to understand their current vacancies that they have today, and with this additional funding opportunity, if that will facilitate your ability to serve people that you already have available and are knowledgeable of.
So we received a question about whether or not an attestation can be submitted for a former fulfilled vacancy that was not submitted in previous years. I think we need some additional context there, so if the person who submitted that can just send some clarification via the chat, we will attempt to respond.
So we have a question.
For people who are eligible for high needs funding, will this be shared in advance of screening?
So it will not be shared in advance of screenings, but if a provider screens somebody, in addition to the incentive that they're receiving and the rate, if they believe that that high needs funding would assist them, they can inquire, you know, about the additional supports that they would be utilizing to meet the needs, and we can follow up on those requests. But those come in from a provider asking if a person is eligible.
So we received a question about whether or not the funds would be available for individuals who have been screened, but a formal offer has not been made. And the answer to that would be yes. If the individual or individuals are a part of the eligible population group, which specifies that they must be unmatched with a provider, then they would be eligible for the funding. Any individual who has already been admitted into a provider program, whether that person was admitted from a skilled nursing facility, an ITO, and or a hospital, would not be eligible for the community transition funding.
Additionally, any placements without an attestation would not be eligible for the community transition stipend. We must receive the attestation, and that must be awarded in advance of any placements being considered. A list of eligible participants will be made available.
So we received another question about whether or not folks who are matched with a provider but are waiting for that residential opportunity to open or to be available, whether or not those folks are eligible for the community transition funding, and the answer is no. Those individuals are already matched with a provider, so they would not be eligible for the funding. So we received a question about whether or not the acuity levels would be determined prior to the individuals being admitted. So as Anne Marie has stated, if a provider has identified individuals in the population group that they're planning on serving, they can certainly engage with the regional field office to determine whether or not an individual is eligible for higher needs funding across the acuity levels. And that process obviously is based on the DDP-2 score, and that would be confirmed prior to the provider making a formal offer and that individual being admitted into the opportunity. So we received a question about whether or not the director letter would be required for opportunities being presented to individuals currently in other regions of the state, and the answer to that is no.
You still need to submit a request to fill to the regional field office and receive that approval, and that is the process that would be required for all eligible placements.
So we received a clarification to the previous question about a fulfilled vacancy.
And so the clarification was that the individual was discharged from a hospital in 2023 and filled a vacancy, but we never submitted the attestation for the transition fund.
And the answer would be no. If an attestation was not received and awarded via that process, then the individual or individuals would not be eligible for the Community Transition Fund. This would also apply to the current 2024-2025 funding initiative. As Anne Marie mentioned, any placements that occur outside of that attestation and award process would not be eligible.
So we got a question, why is it not possible to respond with a proposed number to serve based on anticipated vacancies?
And the answer to that is that there's no guarantee that that opportunity is immediately available. We know that there are a number of, issues or barriers that can occur with potential proposed moves and transitions. So we need to ensure that those opportunities are immediately available and can support the individuals that will be identified given the timing of the initiative.
There are very specific timelines for placements, and these are limited funds that we have, and we want to make sure that they are utilized to the maximum ability. Both are accurate.
So there's a question, it was said that the list will be shared on 3/10/2025, and then it was noted that all people are currently on the emergency need. Yes, those are both accurate.
Those are both accurate. Now, the emergency needs list may have more than this list, right? But all individuals on this list, a subset of people, are currently on the certified residential opportunity and are emergency need.
We've received a question about whether or not we can define what unmatched means.
So unmatched would be through a previous H-out LOI or any other LOI that we have for residential, that the person was not identified for that provider indicating that they would serve, right? So the person, we have providers through LOIs that we have projects in development with individuals attached to those development based on the provider saying that they could serve. They may not be placed yet, but they are matched. We have providers that have already submitted a request to fill, and we have identified through our CROW process that they are looking to serve, but they might not have been placed yet. They are matched. So these are unmatched with no known provider, either through an LOI or request to fill process, indicating that they are committed to serving and want to make an offer.
So there was a question, will organizations be notified if they do not receive the incentive?
No, only the providers that are receiving the award will be notified.
There's a question, what if a screening result form was submitted but not a backfill request?
So if we have not received an internal move or request to fill through the CRO process, that would still be considered unmatched.
So there's a question, if we already are screening someone on the emergency need list and already offering service, but find they are also on the incentive list, do they still qualify?
The answer should be no, because the person that has the request to fill in would be considered matched, and they will not be on the incentive list.
So we have one more question. What if more than one provider wants to admit the same person? How do you determine which provider will award the funding?
As our placements are voluntary, the individual will be notified of both offers, and the individual will choose which residential provider they would like to reside with. So we believe we've answered all the questions in the Q&A, and so we thank you for your participation today, and we hope that we receive your attestations with this presentation. So thank you and have a great day.